For this project, Tim Sway of New Perspectives Music approached me about getting some cushions made for the retail area of his mobile guitar store and music stage, where musicians can get together and jam and play venues, and he can show off and sell his reclaimed wood guitars. I love that a big part of this music truck project for Tim has been using eco-friendly and sustainable materials, which is how I guess he found us at Natural Upholstery, because we are just excited about using natural and sustainable, eco-friendly materials as he is. Even though this was a pretty straightforward boxed and welted cushion project for me, I did run into some challenges along the way, which I'm going to share with you, so hopefully you'll be able to save time and avoid problems with your own cushion project. This project essentially has three parts. First, I'll show you the creation and execution of the custom design elements that make this project unique, using silhouettes from Tim's guitar designs and the New Perspectives Music logo. Second, I'll talk about three different challenges I encountered with the fabric we chose for the project. And finally, I'll show you the basic steps of building a zippered, boxed, and welted cushion. We'll end up with 3 finished cushion covers, all ready to send over to Tim, who completes the cushion assembly with the natural latex foam. I really appreciated that Tim gave me complete artistic freedom for the design part of this project. He set me up with measurements for 1 long back cushion and 2 different size seat cushions to fit the storage bench he had built inside the truck. Once I chose 2 of Tim's guitar silhouettes and the New Perspectives Music arrow logo, I drew the designs to scale on graph paper, then transferred everything from the graph paper to the fabric. For the logo, I used a tear-away stabilizer to transfer the words to the fabric while maintaining accurate scale and spacing of the lettering. Once the marked stabilizer was pinned in place to the underside of the fabric, I stitched along the printed lines and used these as a guide for the final stitching of the design. The stabilizer material not only served as tracing paper, but was also essential for keeping the final satin stitching straight and flat, with no bunching or buckling of the fabric. My first challenge was really as much my own fault as it was an issue with the fabric. I was so excited to get to drawing the design that I happily cut out all of the cushion faces, that's top and bottom, before I realized my hands were turning blue. I had images of people discovering their clothes were stained blue, and I knew I had to pre-wash the fabric to get the excess dye out and fix it so it wouldn't stain. But first I would have to serge everything before washing to prevent fraying of the fabric edges. This is the water after the second wash, before the second rinse. Adding vinegar to the rinse water sets the dye in the fabric. It took 3 washes and rinses with vinegar to set the dye before I felt sure that the color had stopped bleeding. Cotton fabric is known to shrink, and I definitely had shrinkage after washing the cut faces. Because of the shrinkage, I ended up having to piece a narrow strip on both width and length dimensions of each of the 6 faces to bring them up to the correct size. The happy part of this accident was that I could add a tiny design accent by stitching a narrow green strip on one edge of each cushion. On the bright side, I was relieved I hadn't yet cut out the boxings, too. I probably saved myself at least 3 times the extra labor by catching that mistake early. With everything all pre-washed, sized correctly, pressed, squared up, and the edges serged, the fabric was finally ready for the design execution. The next step is sewing welt cording to each of the cushion faces. After sewing welt to the first face, I noticed the fabric had stretched, causing buckling along the edge, which I knew would cause a wavy edge in the finished cushion, just as it appears here. This became my third and final fabric challenge: how to fix stretching of the fabric that would result in a wavy or buckled cushion edge. An iron-on stabilizer fabric ended up being the best solution to this little challenge. A narrow strip pressed along the edge prevented the fabric from stretching when I stitched the welt in place, so all the cushion faces came out with a nice, flat, welted edge. Before sewing the boxings, I checked the design to be sure the guitar silhouette was lining up across the two seat cushions. This is just one of many ways to sew a zipper, and certainly not the only way. With this method, first I match the two sides of the zipper boxing right sides together and baste stitch them with a lightweight thread, since I'll be ripping it out. Then I center the zipper tape on the middle of the basted seam and stitch on either side of the zipper. Here I'm using a double welt foot on my industrial sewing machine, but you can stitch it with a single welt foot or with a zipper foot on your home machine. Once both sides of the zipper are sewn, I use a seam ripper to open that basted seam. To attach the zipper pole to the end of the zipper, I press the open end firmly onto the zipper, pulling the sides of the zipper tape to get it started. To connect the boxings, I start by folding the zipper boxing in half and marking the center. Then I stitch one end of the front boxing to the open end of the zipper boxing, reinforcing that open end of the zipper with a piece of fabric. Next, I make a 2-inch fold in the front boxing to form a pocket for the zipper pull and pin it in place. To begin sewing the boxings, I mark the center back of the first cushion face, then match that to the center mark on the zipper boxing. I pin around the corner to the free end of the zipper boxing, then begin stitching about 4 inches from the end. Once the first side is sewn all the way around, the second face is placed on top of the whole shebang and pinned and stitched to finish the cushion. I just finished the final step on the music truck cushions, and I'm going to turn this final cushion right side out. And I've got to say, this was a really fun project. I really liked the challenge of figuring out the design that I did with Tim's logos, his guitar shapes. Just trying to make it really simple and clean was my goal, and I think that's hopefully going to work out. So I'm ready to send these off to Tim in Connecticut, and he's going to put together the latex foam and put it inside and finish these cushions up. I want to mention two companies that contributed to the success of this project. They are DIY Natural Bedding, who generously donated the certified organic natural latex foam for the insides of the cushions, and Hemp Traders, who provided the hemp organic cotton denim fabric at a discount. Be sure to check out Tim Sway's YouTube channel and see all the pieces and parts that are going into this cool collaborative project and the final assembly and installation of these cushions.